are you sitting on pillows? They're supposed to be behind you.
I have one behind me and I'm sitting on one because usually you say I'm too short. But they can see me sitting on it.
I don't care.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Who we? Who all's over there with you?
The Maddelbees.
Oh.
Go.
What up, Maddelbees? How's it going, guys? Shelby and I here today. We actually just got back from our honeymoon. Super exciting.
Yes. Sorry, I'm full. I just ate. I never eat before I film because my energy just goes like that.
That's all right. Well, I'm gonna try and keep enough energy for the two of us. So, oh, we're dancing. Okay.
I'm trying to get the energy in.
Okay, I can feel it. So, we went to the internet. You guys answered. On my Instagram, I posted basically a question that was asking... What was the question asking?
Okay, that's not what happened anyway. I'll just do the intro. Why do I ask Madison to do the intro? This started because after the wedding, we started getting a lot of questions about what happened between my coming out story that's on my channel and our wedding, where my parents were clearly like involved and happy to be a part of it. And I think you guys know that over time, like, I've mentioned it here and there, and clearly my parents have been involved in our lives since then. And so I think a lot of you know that, like, obviously the coming out story I have didn't end there, and like we just never spoke to my parents again. But we've never talked about how that relationship developed and all that sort of stuff.
So that's what this is going to be today, is us talking about how things used to be between our family / her parents, and how things seem to be peachy in our wedding video.
So, I don't want to waste too much time in this video going over my coming out story because there's a full video about it. I think it's on both channels. It's on the left side. I think the coming out story and the how we met story is on both channels. So if you want to hear the full story, you can go see that. But essentially, when I came out to my parents, it was not good. For multiple months, there were discussions of completely disowning me, no longer helping me with school, problems with gay people in general, problems with people of the skin tone that Madison has, problems with... yeah, those things. Basically, it went from like, we disown you, you're going to hell, you have a mental issue, we're not paying for your school, to fine, we'll deal with it, but you guys can't touch in front of us. Weird things at the beginning. And I think that a lot of people want to hear this story of how it progressed because they think that we have some sort of like special way to get your family involved, or like we have some sort of magical story of like how we came to develop into like better family members to one another, but we don't really have that story.
Yeah.
I don't really have tips to give. There we go.
Yeah,
I feel like that's much better.
It usually is, because then you can't see the pillow.
I have Madison sit on a pillow because otherwise our height difference is kind of weird on camera. Anyway, so I think that's the reason people ask us how it happened, and the answer is we just
things got
gave it
better
time.
with time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like between where we were and the 6 years we're at now to get married, there have been like a lot of people learning different things. And a lot of people like becoming accepting of us being different than they are. You know, like not everyone's the same, and it's like, how much hate can you really have after 6 years? Which, I mean, some people still can.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you want to continue to like have this person around and want to have a relationship with your daughter, then you kind of got to get used to me.
So the answer, yeah, and I said that a little bit in my coming out video, but the answer is basically when my parents threatened to disown me and stop paying for my school, etc. I just said, okay, go for it. And I think that a lot of people are faced with that decision when they come out, and I think that there are a lot of families who would be like, okay, peace out. But my family wasn't like that. I think that if they had suggested they would stop paying for my school if I'd stayed with Madison, and then I just backed down and was like, okay, I won't be with her so that you'll pay for my school, then we would have proceeded, and like my life would be completely different, obviously.
Yeah.
But because I didn't, they were faced with, okay, is our discrimination for no real reason worth losing our daughter? And things being super, it would have been very difficult because that would have meant like me and my sister grow apart, me and my dad, me and my mom, me and all my cousins and my aunts, and like our family's pretty connected, as dysfunctional as we are. We're quite connected, and so I think to them it was like, well, if Shelby doesn't care about literally losing her school over this, we should probably pull our act together.
Yeah.
And it's a big risk I took. But for me, if you don't support me, then I don't need you in my life. And I know for a lot of people that's pretty cut and dry and really blunt, but that's just how I feel. I don't want anyone in my life that doesn't support me. So from that point on, it took quite a few months just for my parents to come to terms with the fact that Madison and I were together. For months, we didn't go home, didn't hang out with them.
Yeah.
And then I think the first time we did, we went on a lake trip. And it was awkward, and we were asked not to touch each other, not to do anything coupley in front of them, which maybe for a lot of people would have been a problem.
And I mean, it's not even like, when she says not to touch each other, it's not like we're making out or anything. It's like,
we've never been those people.
Don't hold hands, like no kisses on the cheek, a hug could be maybe too much PDA, like those kind of things.
And I think, I mean, I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments if something like that would have been like, oh, well then no, we're not going to come around. I think that could have also even been a stopping point for a lot of people. But for me, it was like, okay, my family, I think it's fair to give people who didn't even know you were gay a grace period of trying to adjust to that.
Yeah.
I think that it's a little bit silly, specifically for where I'm from, to expect a conservative family who has seen me date guys for nearly a decade to just be like, oh, okay, fine, and not have an adjustment period. I don't think it was acceptable to say they would disown me and stop paying for my school. I think all that is completely unacceptable. But I do think it's okay to be like, okay, we're not comfortable with what's happening here yet. Give us some space and time. At least for me, that was okay. So that's what we did. And then just slowly over time, as I think people also realize it's not just a phase, I think that's the thing a lot of people go through, it becomes more normal.
Yeah.
What tip? Like, I guess let's read what you guys asked, because maybe that would be easier. I feel like it's hard to pull out of my brain like what we did and how it went, and easier if maybe we look at the questions. So
all right, let's see what kind of responses we got from you all. Getting them pulled up now.
Also, while she's doing that, I'll just say we're uploading this because the travel vlog of the first half of our honeymoon would be a lot to edit. We're literally recording this the day before you see it, and Madison didn't want to edit all of that, so this is just much easier for us to edit. Plus, we've been getting a lot of questions about it. So the first half of our honeymoon travel will be up next week.
Oh my god.
There's quite a few this time.
Wow, guys.
Do you want me to pick them?
Sure. I'll let Shelby pick them. I haven't seen them either, but man, last time we got like 6 responses, and this time I actually scrolled. So good job.
Okay,
guys.
so first of all, Brooklyn asked a question that we kind of already answered. Were you ever told by friends/family that you're just going through a phase? Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think anybody told me that, but I think I was asked if it was that, and I know behind the scenes from hearing people talking to each other that they speculated that it was.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, I don't think I was ever asked if it was a phase. I mean, I didn't have the same relationship with having dated guys like Shelby did. I was just always a tomboy, and then when I came out and told my mom, she was just like, I feel like she saw it coming.
Madison has 3 siblings, and 2 of them are gay as well.
Yeah. So
her mom like has already been through it, is what I mean by that.
Yeah, so it was like 3 out of 4 of us, and she was like, okay, this is not surprising, because my other sister actually is 10 years older than I am, so she came out like a whole decade ago basically, and then when it was my turn, it was a lot softer blow than when my sister came out.
Yeah, and if you guys want to know Madison's full coming out story, which is very short, it's a very short story, but it's on the channel too. So if you want to see that, just go search the channel and you can see the full thing there. But yes, that's the answer to that question. How old were you both when you realized that you were gay, or was it something you always knew?
I wasn't thinking about stuff like that when I was younger.
When your sister came out, did you know you were gay?
I guess I started feeling like, oh, I'm liking girls in middle school, so not when my sister came out.
Okay. And Madison, I think Madison always knew. For me, I think, I don't know, and I may never know, I suppose, if I'm gay, bisexual, pansexual, all of these words, or if it was just Madison. But I can tell you something I know about myself is when I was younger, pre-Madison, all of my boyfriends in the past, I was never attracted to anyone based off of their looks. I've never looked at a person and been like, oh, he's so cute, or oh, she's so cute. I found myself admiring like female characters in shows and things like that more than the male ever.
Okay.
But it never registered to me as gay. I always just thought that was normal, but maybe it's not. I mean, I have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I'd say middle school, but I can still remember looking back and, like, being, like, 9 or 10 and just always wearing, like, boots and the long blue jeans and Spider-Man shirts. And I guess it wasn't until middle school, when I was like, oh, I think that's when your, like, sexual desires kind of turn on. So you're like, oh, I like that over there, not that over there so much.
Okay. Your sister says yes, love this topic. Looking forward to hearing more about your story. Very sweet. Okay. This one is specifically for you. When you met Shelbi's family, did they already know she was into girls, or were you a surprise?
I'm saying it's a surprise because, like, we were best friends, and then it's like, whoa, now we're dating, and so that would have been a surprise. That's how I was gonna say.
The answer is, the first time we went home from college to my parents' house, I was giving a presentation because I wanted to go to this study abroad in Costa Rica, and I put together a whole presentation to give them, to talk them into letting me go, and I took Madison home with me. So at that point, we were just friends. When I came out to my parents the next time we went home, no one saw it coming. I had dated multiple boys throughout my childhood, and no one, my parents at least.
Yeah, saw it coming.
Yeah.
That's a much better explanation. I was getting there, but...
Right. Who was the most on board in the beginning? How did that change over time?
Who was the most on board? Probably my sister, because she's gay. So she's been like waving the flag, like super excited, like, oh, there's another one of us the whole time.
And my cousin.
And then, Shelbi's cousin has been pretty supportive too. Even though there was a little blip in there, she still is pretty supportive.
So my cousin, I think you guys have met her on both channels, probably Lisa, and then she has the younger daughter, Kinley. Her being supportive and her being hesitant to introduce her kid to us is different. It was a problem, I must admit.
Yeah, I was like, that's still supportive.
But she was very encouraging me from the beginning to be like, it's not a big deal. You don't need to stress yourself out. Feel it out. See what happens. Like, completely in support of it, and loved Madison to death. I feel like before she even knew you.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah, it's always nice when, even if you have to reach into extended family to find someone who, just accepts you for you and can kind of ground you, when there are some other people in your family who are just losing it because you love someone who they think you shouldn't.
Yeah. We could really go into my coming out story kind of goes into it. Okay. Did you lose a lot of friends, or were they supportive?
Well, I would say, fortunately, the friends that we did make at A&M, like, we were already in a super, like, liberal college, even though A&M's like super conservative. So we didn't really lose any friends.
I was gonna say there's a difference between the University of Texas A&M and the College of Geosciences, because the university was conservative. Our little college was full of hippies and tree huggers, obviously.
Yes.
So I didn't lose any friends over it at all.
Yeah, I haven't lost any friends over like being gay, and if I did, I probably wouldn't want them to be my friends anyway. The only thing I kind of remember, which is weird, in middle school again, I kind of like hung out with a group of girls, and then their mom decided I was gay, even when I didn't know I was. And it's not like I hit on them or anything, but their mom was just like, you should stop going around that girl, because she's gay. And they like came over to my house one day, told me that, and then left and never talked to me again. So I'm fine. Not salty.
Okay. Linda wants to know, with the knowledge you have now, would you have handled it differently?
I mean, no. I don't think I'd change anything. Like, I like the way I did it.
You think you would have done it on Mother's Day? You don't care? It didn't go badly, so I guess that's why you don't.
Yeah, it came out on Mother's Day. I mean, it didn't go badly, but I mean, maybe I wouldn't do it on Mother's Day in case it would have. That's what I would change, knowing the things I know today.
Yeah. So, if you guys want to know the full coming out story of either of us, like I said, they're on the channel. Go watch them, because I don't want this video to be all about that. But I definitely made a mistake that I didn't see as a mistake at all at the time. But because of how it went, I wouldn't have done it. I did it right before a party, thinking it would literally be no big deal. I thought telling my mom would be no big deal, and I thought I would rope my mom into being on my side, and then we would tell my dad, because I thought that maybe there would be a problem there. But it just exploded and turned into something horrible. My mom thinks I should have sat my mom and my dad down together and told them at the same time, and I do not think I would have done that. It's just not what I would have done.
It also just comes from a place where it's like, do you have that loving, nurturing mom and dad, I'm gonna talk to you about stuff, relationship, or is it like you got some deeper issues there and you're trying to literally like get one of your parents on your side so that you can talk to the other one?
Yeah, but still to this day my parents don't see it that way. They think that I should have just sat them down and told them. I don't think I would have done that, but I probably would not have told my mom right before a party, even though I didn't see that as a problem at all. Now I guess I realize that it was. I still don't understand why.
Yeah.
But I guess that's my mistake. It's not my mistake. I've said this to myself for so many years, and I catch myself every time. It is not my mistake that my mom acted like a child, and I do not regret doing that. But if I could see what had happened, I would have done it differently just to avoid all of the drama.
Yeah.
But it's not my fault. I refuse to take accountability for something that wasn't my fault. Mm-hmm. That's so stupid. Sorry. Okay. Are you resentful towards some people for the way they reacted to your coming out? Obviously.
That's a good follow-up question.
So the thing is, and this is why I really wanted to make this video. It's very easy to look at these two videos, my coming out story and the wedding video, and see that my mom is involved and supportive and happy, and think like, oh, well then Shelbi should have no resentment towards them, and they probably have a great relationship and everything's fine. And the truth is, even though I don't feel direct resentment for their reaction to my coming out story, that outburst you just saw, clearly there is resentment there.
Yeah. But
there's resentment in our relationship from even before coming out. My parents and I have a very toxic past.
Yeah, so there are definitely like a lot of scars and stuff there.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And things don't ever really get resolved with her parents. They just kind of like move on. It's like, oh, so all that hurtful stuff you said and did? Oh, okay, well, I guess it's a new day. So we're just going to pretend like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, and that's why when you guys ask us how we did this and that, it's the only answer is time and emotional growth on our parts, and not even so much theirs. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like it's such a hard thing to say, because I do want to give credit to my parents for being so supportive for the wedding. I'm grateful for that, and I'm happy that it happened. But
there are even issues with that.
But there are so many. I just want you guys to know, although I can't maybe give you specifics on all the problems that I have with my family, while I am proud of how they reacted to the wedding and the supportive and the involvement, it's hard to convey to you guys how much there is in my head from the past, and yes, also from stuff that happened with the wedding, that I have emotional problems from. So if you ever catch me being resentful towards my parents, that is why. There's a lot that has happened in my life that aside from just coming out. So I just wanted to make that very clear, because I know for a fact that at some point along the way I will complain about something my family has said or done, and then they'll be like, but your mom was so supportive for the wedding, and it's like, yeah, anyway, I hope that makes sense. What did your family say about being in an interracial couple in addition to your sexuality?
I mean, honestly, her parents were a little racist. Like, straight up. I mean, I don't know if they hide it more now, and obviously things have gotten better, but we're coming from, like, deep South, conservative, Republican, used to throw the N-word around like it was chill. Guys, it's been rough, but, I mean, like we keep saying, just with time and with me always being around, it's like, I'm not gonna casually throw around the N-word like I used to, you know? I remember one time distinctly where he said it, her dad, not to me, but it was random, just like not even about a black person, just because he's so used to using the word. And again, no apology, just kind of got real quiet. And her mom actually apologized, which was kind of nice. But I'm like, what is going on?
yeah, but that's not about our relationship. But my dad
is the mentality, that he has, which you can speak on.
My parents are both emotionally very immature. Immature in general, very not self-aware, very not woke at all. But I wouldn't say she said my parents are racist. I wouldn't say my parents are racist. I would say my dad is, and my mom definitely has plenty of biases for sure. But my dad and I hate when people equate racism with using the N-word, because of course the N-word is racist, but there's so much more to racism than a word, and there's so much deeply ingrained in the way my dad views a person of color than just using the word.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. It was a big problem in the beginning. And it's not acceptable for him to be racist, for him to say those things, for him to have those feelings, for him to be so not self-aware to address them. But just like with having gay people in your life, it normalizes it. Having someone this close to you in your family also normalizes that black people are not all the stereotypes that you've equated them to be. And so I think over time, it's helped break those down for him. And that time he said the N-word, I think my mom and I both gave him a very harsh talking to after that situation, and we've not had any issues since. And that does not mean he's no longer racist. It just means
he's like kind of, like she was saying, because I'm around, it's more normalized, but her family and their little circle is very much like, I know this one person that did this one thing, the whole race is that way.
Yeah.
So it was like breaking down a lot of stereotypes for them about like black people, gay people, when
constantly. Were your religious beliefs involved? And if yes, how did you overcome that?
This question for me hits pretty hard, because my mom raised me like Christian Baptist for a while. Even when my sister was out, because again, there's the age difference. I still thought like being gay for a while was a mental disease, and thought my sister was sick. And that kind of like sheltered me letting my inner feelings about my sexuality and like being gay come to light. But eventually I got to college and I kind of wasn't up under my mom anymore, and was like, I'm gonna express myself how I want to.
Yeah, my parents told me I was gonna go to hell. But for me personally, by the time that I came out, I guess you could say, I was an atheist. I'm atheist. So religion didn't play any part in my coming out.
Yeah,
for me personally.
Yeah, my coming out, my mom actually asked me a question. She was like, do you know you're gonna have to answer to God for that? And I was like,
Sorry guys, we were talking too much, the camera cut off.
Yeah,
but you still believed in God at the time when you came out?
Yeah, I still believed in God when I came out, but I mean, through schooling and time, and through like school and as time progressed, I realized, I actually am an atheist too now. And for so long held on to that because that was my mom's belief. But when you just get from under your parents and they don't have that like thumb on you where you're like, they're conservative, so I'm conservative, and you start like meeting new people and ideas and stuff, you're like, I don't have to be how she is. And same goes for Shelbi. You did like a 360 when you got to college.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't know if I talked about that before, you guys. I like joined a church. I joined the Young Republicans, all those sort of things when I first went into college as an environmental science major.
Yeah.
But yeah, so by the time I came out, no, that was not an issue for me. How did you come out to me? Do you remember?
How did I come out to you?
I feel like you just threw it around like it was casual. My sister was there, if I remember.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
Oh my god, you know I just remembered?
What?
The first night Madison and I met, tell them what you invited me to go do after class.
Oh, I invited her to go to Breakaway, which is our like on-campus Christian ministry like group thing. I was like, what, are you gonna break away with me?
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I was so into like trying to make friends and stuff, but was I out to, I guess I was out to people, but just not out to my parents when I went to college. Yeah.
And I don't think it was anything that like she sat me down and told me. I think she literally mentioned it in passing, and it was like, well, obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like I already knew that.
At this point, I vet people, like, straight up. I'll find some reason to say, like, I'm gay, or now that we're married, like, my wife, and if there are any red flags, I'm like, see ya.
The South in general has a bad rep for not liking LGBTQ+. Has this been your experience?
I have not experienced, like, if we're walking down the street or something, people openly like saying stuff to us, but I feel like we do get stares a lot.
Yeah.
Like I can feel people watching me, and then I like look over at them and they're looking back at me. But I feel like you have to have a lot of guts to actually say something like to get to that level. But for the most part, it's like, even though we live in the South, we still have friends and have like a little community that is niche to, I mean, us, I guess, would you say?
Yeah, we've never had any issues living here. People publicly or like bold-facedly saying or doing anything that I can remember. Excuse me. And sometimes when people stare, that not necessarily at, I think there are all sorts of reasons people stare at me and you.
Yeah, I'm like,
someone fucking knows why.
I'm like, are you staring at me because I'm black? Are you staring
it's
at
like,
me
yeah, it's like
because
this huge
I'm
list.
gay? Are you staring at me because the hair on my legs? Are you staring at me because you can't tell if I'm a girl or a guy? Like, why are you... Why? Why
are you staring at me because I'm overweight? Are you staring at me because you might know who I am? Are you staring at me? Like, every time someone is staring, all of those things go through my head. The other day we were at like a little store buying maple syrup, and the cashier was this old white lady, and she was just staring so hard. And I so many times in retroactively, I want to be like, can I fucking help you? But I don't have the balls to be like that, and I'm not really that mean of a person. But I think about it, and I'm like, I should have fucking said something to them, because maybe that would change the way they handle themselves, you know? Sometimes it just takes that thing to be like, you don't get to just fucking stare at me.
Yeah. I think another thing that might be on our side is, even though we're in Texas, we're not in small town Texas. We're hopping around from like cities to cities where people usually have enough sense. If you look at a political map of Texas, the major cities are blue, and everything else except for like borders are red, if that tells you anything. Not to get too into politics, but
fuck Donald Trump.
Fuck Donald Trump. Okay.
That was it. All the other questions were like very similar to what we already talked about. So.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. That's it. Thank you guys so much for responding. This was an awesome video. I hope we answered some of your questions that you have about who we are.
I also hope that you are okay and accepting of my emotions that popped out there for a moment.
Yeah, and know that we're here for you as a part of the community, just like we are happy that you guys are here for us. The love and support from the comments on our wedding video is incredible. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, stay tuned for more videos. This was just a fill-in, and also I think it'll be a good video. A lot of people will want to know these things. So.
Yeah. So I'll let you sign us out. Not with peace signs. Do it proper.
Catch you later, Maddlebees.